I know a lot of guys are like, oh, I do really good on dating apps, but I'm not attracted to any of these women. So stuff like that. I get a lot of dudes that have that. And then the other one, this is a really big one for me, is that guys that feel left out. So they're like, I know that I get passed over for promotions, or I'm not a really good salesperson. I don't get invited to the best parties. I know that there's, this guy who's a CEO who invites his closest friends on a yacht, and I never get invited. An example is like I go to pretty much every weekend. I go to Dan Bilzerian's house to play paintball. When I'm there, some of the guys there are either like MMA champions or guys that are worth $100 million. Like everybody, I was playing paintball with Steve Aoki the other day. When you're there, everyone there has accomplished something pretty amazing, and you're like, well, how do I get invited to those type of situations? Those guys are probably those. They're not the majority of my clients, but when we get one of those guys on the phone and talk to them, they're most likely out of any other type of client to join the program. Meaning guys who want to improve their networking skills or get better with networking with really high status men. The most common though is guys who are having trouble with women. They're the ones who come to me the most because, again, when you consider what's the strongest pain point you're going to feel as a man, the strongest pain point you're going to feel is the rejection of women. It is, and regardless of like how much you get used to it. Even Dan Bilzerian in his book, this guy had been with 2,000 women, and he talks about two or three, or there's like four women in there. He talks about that broke his heart. And so, like, how is that possible if you have that much validation for women? It's like, well, because it's a very, very evolved, deep, um, uh, evolutionary adaptation that we have as men to want validation from the opposite sex. So that's a lot of times where the main pain point comes from.
It definitely makes a lot of sense because if you said to me, "What's holding you back? What's stopping you becoming the next level of where I want to be?" I would go, I would stutter my way through some bullshit answer. But if you said, "Tell me about the girlfriend you broke up with or your first love,"
Yes.
I could give you every single detail, and it'd be like a
Yeah.
knife down the back. Why, when we're starting to make that change, how do you work with somebody to get them to actually understand the limiting blocks that are actually holding them back? Because I'm assuming you don't break down jealousy, comparison. You actually deal with changing the person as a whole. But
Yeah.
if you know how they say like what gets measured gets managed,
Yeah.
how do you even get them to start to understand what's holding them back before they even start looking at fixing it?
So I have a pretty big advantage there. When I first started the program, the main thing that I would use was me.